What up, roomies? Tonight on Neighbors, we're stepping into the space where music, manifestation, and higher guidance meet. Our guest, Olivia De Sousa, author of the ultimate book of spells, 21 Days of Miracles, Abundance, and higher guidance, a meditation teacher and a musician who weaves sound and intention together as tools for transformation. Olivia's journey blends ancient wisdom with modern practice, showing alignment, ritual, and frequency that can shift not only your mindset but our reality. We're diving into her path, how she incorporates music into meditation, and what abundance really means beyond money. Roomies, welcome Olivia. How you
I
doing,
am
Olivia?
so I am really well. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm good. Here, enjoying my final day off from, my regular 9 to 5.
What do you do when you're not doing this?
When I'm not doing this, I'm a property manager and I DJ on the weekends.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a pretty packed schedule, and I tell everybody, I'm very curious and I want to know, people's perspective. So I do this on the side as just to educate myself and to educate everyone out there.
Great.
So yeah, so for people who don't know who you are, just give us like a background and how your journey came to be.
Okay, so what has led me to come here and be talking about this book is basically me following my intuition, because this is a book I wrote without knowing I was writing a book.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know if I would have how I would have felt about actually writing a book. It might have felt really hard if I knew that's what I was doing, but it was just but it was actually things that I wrote for me, because when um when I go to journal or just process, or when I come up against something in my life, um, often what comes out in either a song or poems. And
Okay.
so, if I've got some issue and I'm like, because I think all of us are programmed. We live in this world, this 3D world, as we call it. We watch shows, we feed our mind all of the time, like all of the
Yeah.
when we're thinking about it, and even more when we're not thinking about it. The schooling, the entertainment, everything. And so when I would notice some negative self-talk or any sort of issue come up, I'd be like, no, I don't want that. And I could write myself a mantra. It might happen that way, or it might happen that simply I was journaling and it came out as a poem again. And I'd feel like, God, that's a little, that's a weird thing that I do. That's a quirky little weird thing that I do. Um, but that was my way of dealing with situations and finding calm again, and being able to think clearly again, because obviously we all are a lot more educated these days. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people know about, you know, back 10, 20 years ago, people weren't talking about regulated nervous systems and all of
Nah.
this. And I think we know now that we can't access our higher abilities until we do that. And so that's sort of a thing I came up with for myself. And then I'd record them sometimes and just
Yeah.
start listening to them myself. And then from then I started putting them on Insight Timer as meditations, as things. Oh, this helped me, it could help other people. And I'd find like I've got a lot of reviews of people who actually listened to them and found them helpful. But I guess I still hadn't thought any more about that until I decided to jump into someone else's collaborative book.
Yeah. Okay.
Katie Carey, her name is, and she writes lots of books, and she had a book of soulful poems. And she said, if you're someone who ends up writing songs and poems when you journal and feels like you access something greater than the everyday world when you go to write, and basically she was saying exactly it was written exactly for me. And I went, oh, I'm not the only person,
That does that. Yeah.
and so I jumped in this book, and then for her book first, so Soulful Poems number 4 is the one I'm in. I've got my I Am Enough poem in
Yeah.
there. And then, it just made me think a bit differently about what I'd been doing. And I realized I've got something here that could actually help people, and I could shape that into share that. People could access it. Not everyone necessarily wants to. They might listen to it. Actually, the book's got QR codes, so you can do both together. You
Nice.
can either read it or you can just go, oh yes, I need that, and I want to get in my car, or I want to do the dishes or whatever, and I'll just have it playing in my ears. So that's kind of how it progressed, very organically, very much me going, I'm not even sure why I'm doing this, but I'm not going to question it. I'm going with it.
But sometimes the best gifts of life, right, are when they're on this when they're like something that you're not chasing and is like it just comes about.
Yeah, I think sometimes you've got to listen to life and listen to those things that keep coming back around to you. Listen to your I think I believe in being guided by our hearts, and I think that's the way that God or source or whatever you want to call it um, speaks to us. Like if we don't listen to our feelings, if we don't listen to our passions, if we don't do those things that excite us, then we're not listening to our job in the world. Like we've all got different roles. You know, it might be to be a DJ, it might be to be a teacher, it might be to be a builder or whatever, but they're all important. We're all needed.
Yeah.
And I remember being when I was a child and I always loved to sing, always, but I was shy. And I just had this desire, such a burning desire to sing, and I wanted to be like this pop star, and I was
Nice.
embarrassed. I just thought, how embarrassing! Everyone wants to be a pop star. Only 1% make it. How embarrassing! I'm not, and I just kept it a secret for so long, and now I know that's just my thing. That's just now I
Yeah.
realize you're supposed to listen to those nudges just so you can live your fullest life and share your gifts with the world. So
So how important do you think it is for people to listen to their intuition and you know s- I would say I don't want to say discover, but kind of search those paths that they didn't previously think that they would be interested in.
I think, yeah, obviously, I think it's very important. There's a line from a movie many years ago from Strictly Ballroom, I think it was. No, yes, it was. Baz Luhrmann made, and the recurring line in the movie was, "A life lived in fear is a life half lived," and I think if you don't listen to your intuition, that's basically what you're doing. You're not trusting your heart. You're not trusting yourself, and so you're not living fully. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice, but also other people, because who's to say someone else doesn't need you to do your thing for them to awaken something inside of them as well. So
No,
yeah.
that's definitely true. You know what I mean? Um, so when you first started, putting out the mantras and putting out like these little songs for meditation practices, how did you feel when somebody said, "Hey, this really helped me out"?
Amazing. Obviously, it's just encouragement to trust yourself and yeah, because I think we all have gifts to share that can help others. Not everyone's going to want to write a mantra. If they do, go for it. Um, but yeah, we listen to each other's songs, we watch each other's art, and it's encouraging, I guess I'd have to say. And yeah, it's just confirmation that for me, of feeling like I'm on the right path. So yeah.
So you kind of would say that this path chose you versus you choosing it, right?
That is so well put. Thank you. I think that's it. I think it's like, stop ignoring when life's trying to tell you something. We don't listen because we expect things to be delivered in someone to come down and and actually say it in plain English to us, but we sometimes need to just listen to life itself. So
No, no, that's definitely true. And what can I say about is hmm, I'm getting tongue tied with what I want to say, but it's like people expect life to come in this neat little package that they have designed in their mind, and
mhm.
it's like you picking up one flower when the universe is trying to give you like a bouquet of flowers. It's like here,
That's
you
beautiful.
know, it's like here's a whole garden of flowers. Like choose something, and it'll be right for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing that really inspires me is children, we have to be reminded to just follow our hearts and do the things we love. And that's why I sometimes like looking at young children before they start developing inhibitions and things like that. Yeah, they don't have to think through and worry about if it's the right path or the wrong path. They'll just play in the moment and invent stories and do things. And I think we overcomplicate things a lot more when we when we get older. We have to. You don't necessarily even have to think about some great lofty cause, and I think we are just meant to have some joy in our lives.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, take away that joy from themselves when they have this emphasis of this certain idea,
Mhm.
and it's not going the way they initially planned it out, but they're still getting to their goal, but it's not going down the path they planned it out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
That
you got what I mean? They take away the joy of the journey and the experience of learning that path.
Yes, I think we are so used to thinking in this linear way of it'll go these logical steps of what's within my capability to imagine, and sometimes there's value in realizing that we only see things from this narrow from where we are. We don't have the bird's eye view of the interconnectedness and the tapestry of life, and that maybe something even better than what you can imagine is happening, and just trusting some more. So
True on that. So what did inspire the ultimate book of spells and like the 21-day structure that you have it like implemented in it?
it I've given people a few options. So there's 21 mantras. So I packaged it up, I guess, in a way that people um, could find it approachable, or just to give a structure, to make it accessible, I guess, in a bit, kind of like how people might do, like what's the one that people sometimes do for art, the artist way, like it's 12 weeks or something. And I just sort of felt like I want it to be accessible, but it's not a prescription. It's not like you absolutely have to. There's a few options in there. So if you go to the front of the book, there's you can you can use it a bit like an oracle book. You can flip open to what you want to do. But it just felt like I think people might want to find have a structure to follow, because I know I like sometimes to feel like I'm on a path. And so
Yeah.
that's what I created. So it's a bit like, I mean, one of the things I'm into is A Course in Miracles, for example, is something I like. And I think a lot of people do A Course in Miracles because there's 365 lessons and you do one a day. It just gives you a framework. So, but there's other ways. There are other practices.
I get you on that. So what do you mean by spells? And what does it really do to you? Because I've heard the expression that people say that when we speak, we cast spells, right?
Mhm.
Are you referring to something of like towards that nature?
Yes, I guess you could call it spells. We use different words sometimes to mean the same thing. So I've called it word spells. You could use sometimes I call them mantras. You could call them prayers. It doesn't really matter too much what you
Okay.
call them. It's I think the power in them is the intention behind them, and um, I think there's power in where we direct our intention. Like the more of us who see each other as part of a one instead of division, the more of us who express joy instead of fear, the more of us who do those sort of things, that helps to change our individual lives, and that helps to change the world as a collective, the more of us that do that. So that this is my contribution to directing people's intentions and energy um, to those things. We sometimes, without realizing, have negative self-talk running in our heads,
Yeah.
which does nothing for our output, which does nothing for our clear thinking, which does nothing for accessing intuition. Um, So this is a replacement for that.
I got you on that. And like when people start the path with your book, right? What kind of transformations do you normally see, or like what kind of transformations would you like to see?
I like to see there are people who I just it shifts in energy. I'm just flipping to actually some of the things that people have said when they've used these, so I can remind myself. I know it's probably easy for me to remember what I've done for myself. Like some of these I've come up with because of specific situation. But there was someone who, after she says, she listened last night after 6 months of stress trying to get accepted into housing. She had a phone call to say, I've been accepted. So I don't know. It was something that she used to shift her energy, I guess. And then maybe, something opened up. I know for myself, I've used it ahead of a meeting. There's one in there for meetings, and sometimes ahead of, say, if I had to have a sales call or something, and I'm going, oh, do I remember everything I have to know? And I'm getting all up in my head.
Yes.
Then I'll be like, but the meeting is successful. Everybody wins. The guides are all around us. The magic, it begins. Like, it's just like, you're telling a story that's not helpful right now. So how about tell this story instead? And it just reminds you to have a bit of fun. So yeah, that's how I've used it for myself. And, that's an example of how someone else has used it.
I get that.
Hmm.
I get that. I get that. So you would say like the biggest thing is like shifting energy, right? And like kind of like going from a lower point of energy to a higher vibrating kind of field where you're attracting more.
Exactly. And to also get you out of a negative loop, out of a negative spiral.
Mhm.
One of them, for example, I had a client once who I kind of regret. I don't want to go too much into it because it's a personal thing,
Yeah.
but I handled a situation and I thought, I didn't like how I handled it. I regretted it, and I thought, oh man, I felt like an idiot and all these things.
Nah.
And then I went, hang on, I got to get out of this. And then I sat there and I wrote this down. I wrote, I command. I've heard this before. Actually, I heard it. I was into someone giving advice once who said, kind of, it was channeled. If you're into all of this, a guide saying, if you sometimes we get into the weeds of the how to, and you need to shift your energy into resolution, just focusing on resolution. You don't need to think of the hows and the mechanics, just the resolution. And so I came up with, and I went, I command a resolution. I command it be a miracle of great delight for all involved to see. I command a resolution. Love will show the how. Thank you, universe. It is granted now. And I had my drums. See, I've got a drum behind me. I
Yeah.
don't think you. And I just went bang, bang, did that like for 5 minutes. And then at the end of it, I felt just peace and calm. And I just went, I know what I'm going to do. And I just wrote straight away. I just knew what I wanted to say. I wrote an email and I sent it to my client. And the next time she saw me, it was just a few days later. There was like a business networking thing that we were both at. And she came over, gave me the biggest hug. Everything was fine.
Good.
Yeah. So that's an example of how, yeah.
No, I get you. I
I mean,
get you on that.
yeah.
So it's like, so how can I say it? So I would say like the biggest component is mind state, and like just kind of like hmm, switching off that that kind of like that impulse to like kind of like lower ourselves, because I see that a lot of people, including myself, have the tendency of like self-doubt and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So it's like your mantras would be great for like people who are kind of like nervous at the moment, and not only nervous at that moment but could use it more so that way they could bring themselves up as well.
Because I think one of the mistakes we make as humans is that we believe our thoughts and we don't pause, and we don't stop for a moment and just be the observer. We don't stop to observe. And so we might be saying a bunch of negative things, and who knows where we picked it up. It could be our super stressed parents who were also unconscious, who,
Yeah.
who just said things and shut their mouth off without thinking, and that's become our negative self-talk. And we might spew that other people too, and whatever, and we don't pause and just observe and go, is that actually true? And is that helpful? And could we be saying something more helpful? So yeah, that's the purpose.
No, that's definitely true because I've learned that your thoughts make like your reality a lot harsher than what it is, even though it's not as bad as what we think it is. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So if,
Yeah, it's
an example is like, let's say you're getting ready to perform somewhere or whatnot, and you're there like, oh my God, I'm gonna get booed off, or oh my God, I'm gonna mess up my lyrics or whatnot. And then you go out there and crush it. And then the reality was that you was always prepared and you was always ready to, go for it. And
yeah.
I've seen that our thoughts usually have the tendency of, making a situation a lot dire than what it actually is.
I can totally, as you'd be drawing on your DJ experience for that,
Oh
yes.
yeah. Yep. Back when I first started up and I was just like, oh my God, let me make sure I don't mess up and all this other stuff. But now it's just like when I get up there, it's more relieving now than stressful.
I can
Because it's
totally
like
relate because, yeah, go on.
no, because of the fact that I'm used to, I've gotten used to being up there, I guess,
Hmm.
and now it's just a familiar place to be, and that's where I could kind of like let loose a lot more because it's not like people are focused directly on me; they're more focused on the music. But I could just like, just let it go and just be in my zone for a little while.
And actually remember what you're doing it for, that you actually enjoy it.
Yeah,
And
that's always
actually,
a
I can
blessing.
yes, remember the blessing. Remember when you hoped one day to be able to do what you're doing.
Yep.
A- And I can relate to that as a singer. I know I've always found it peculiar when you're about to go on stage and someone asks, "Are you nervous?" And I've noticed that in that moment you've got a decision to make, because whatever you answer to that um, is a decision, and whatever your answer, you're listening to yourself. So I always feel if someone's asking as if you're about to go on stage, "Are you nervous?" You have to say, "No, no, I'm confident."
Nah, I got this.
Exactly.
That's
And I do music for children at the moment, and I got back into it after a long break last year. Um, and to get back into it, I asked at my daughter's childcare center if I could just practice on them, and I found myself slipping into that uh, nerves and all of that. Oh God, I can't remember how to do the transitions from one activity to the other, and do I remember all the words? And then I just like, hey, remember, this is for the children. Just focus on the children. Have fun. Don't take yourself so darn seriously.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's our self-talk is incredible.
And then the greatest thing about like children is that they're the most forgiving people because they don't even
Mm,
really know what's going on. They're just in the moment enjoying themselves. So if
I
you're
love
there vibing with them, you're not even gonna notice if you slip up. But most of the time, people don't slip up.
and if you don't take yourself too seriously, it's not that big of a deal either.
Yep, you just keep it pushing.
Yeah, that's right.
So you mentioned that you were a musician. How long have you been doing music?
um, on and off for a very long time now, for decades. um, but you know how I said I was shy? I was shy throughout my childhood and
Yeah.
teens. I didn't audition for any of the school musicals or anything. But in my early 20s, some guy dumped me and I was down in the dumps.
Oh
And
no.
but it was a blessing because I realized I had to shift my focus to something else. And that's when I went. And my mum, who had heard me sing when I was about 15, and she got tears in her eyes and went, "I didn't know you could sing." She said, "Go join a band, go sing." And I was like, yes, I need that focus. And I'd go. And because I've got Portuguese heritage, I joined the local Portuguese club, the band. It was kind of an easy way to get some experience. And so that's, I've been singing ever since. And you know how we say, listen to your heart, listen to your intuition. That's when I really started, because that urge, that longing that had been there all of those years. And people again asked, are you nervous, as I went on stage? And a strange thing is, I wasn't. Like, I felt like
No.
I was supposed to be, but I wasn't. It was like, oh, I'm finally home. And I was just, yeah. So I've been singing ever since then, basically weddings and restaurants
I, f-
and
I feel you on that because
fado
that's,
Portuguese. Yeah.
but I feel you on that. That's alignment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alignment. Exactly. Yeah.
So what? So when did you start incorporating your music into like the meditations, and how does sound exactly change the experience of it all?
So I've basically, I like having for the, I just found I like to have something that's got a drum beat that's kind of reinforcing the mantra. There's something about, like, it's like a heartbeat or something, just intuitively. I reckon there'd be data somewhere that would back me up, but intuitively it just feels like it's literally drumming the words into you. So that's kind of why that has happened. On Insight Timer, I've only got one actual, it's all meditations there. I've only got one actual song that I've put there, but I have written a few, I think, that I'd call myself. I've been doing some like devotional songs that I think would suit the platform as well. So they're coming.
Nice.
um, yeah. So I just help. I think it all helps create
I
a
feel you on
certain
that.
atmosphere. Mm,
No, that's dope because it kind of like, especially if you have like a nice, drum to it, you have like kind of like a pulse, and that's why you create like a steady rhythm. You know what I mean?
that's right, right. I mean, we know that there is science, as far as we know, that certain music puts you on alpha and theta and all these sort of states that change your brain. We know that. So I just think music is therapeutic, and we are recognizing that these days.
Mhm.
And
Do you
my
think?
songs seem to be unintentionally, it's just happened that way. My songs seem to be like affirmations to music, whether it's children's music or adults' music. It's all stuff that if you sing it out loud, you're gonna feel pretty good.
That's all it's all about. Is about the energy and the vibe.
Mm, What kind of
Mm.
music are you into?
I usually I'm producing house music and hip hop right now.
Wow.
But when it comes to like my personal like listening like preferences, I listen to everything except for like jazz and country and like really heavy
Mhm.
metal
Mhm.
rock. It doesn't like it doesn't like correlate with me, so I'm just like, I don't really like it. But if you put
Yeah.
it on, I'll listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
But other than that, when it comes to like the creation of music, I mainly stick to hip hop and house music.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So with that, do you think that the incorporation of music when it comes to like meditation or even just giving yourself like a little mantra to repeat, do you think that kind of like bypasses just bypasses like our like resistance to it because it's like more rhythmic and is kind of like setting with our own heartbeat?
I think, I mean, just from my own experience as being someone who does the meditations, myself as well, it just soothes the mind and helps you get into that state where you receive the messages more. I mean, I guess it is possible to do without music, but I think music certainly helps. I mean, that's why music therapy and sound healing and things like that exist, because it has a power. And even if it's not under those headings of music therapy or whatever, like if it's at a nightclub and you're dancing, that's shifting your state. Like,
Yeah,
it's, even if it's not officially called some sort of therapy, it's like raising and lifting and getting people in a certain mood, and it's positive. It's
yeah. That's why you
worthwhile.
have that's why like when when you're like feeling emotional or like when you just need to like vibe out, certain genres of music, hit better than others. Like
Hmm.
R&B is better for when you're, feeling a little bit more emotional when versus when you're in party mode where, hip hop or like, a more dancey kind of beat would hit.
Exactly. It's like you could write prescriptions pretty much.
It's
Or you could
true.
do it for yourself. There's songs, I mean, there's I've got a song that um could potentially make there's some songs that are sad and they make you cry, and I think that's important because sometimes you just need that release, and then you can play a different song and like party mode, like you say, or yeah.
I feel you. I feel you. So, um, so you when you were putting together this book, what was their process like? Like, did you just like have all these mantras already prepared that you already had written down previously, or did you like sit down to like write a whole new set?
I think all of them. I'm just trying to think whether there were any last minute entries. I think they were all already written, and it was during school holidays, one of the school holiday breaks last year. So I was kind of not in I was running a podcasting business last year, which I ended up closing late last year because I've gone in a different direction. But that's a whole other story. So I was in the mode of not having that business hat on, and I just got this idea, this burst of inspiration to do it, and I just had a bee in my bonnet of just every available moment, which is pretty tricky when you're a mum and it's school holidays and the kids are around, but when they're asleep or any spare moment where they're occupied otherwise, I just had this drive to just work on it until it was done. Um so I had the mantras, they were written, so that helped make it a lot easier. And then I was like, okay, I just need to figure out the structure of the book, an explanation. Like each one has a story because there's a story behind why I was inspired. So the process, I guess, was writing a bit of an explanation of background, what it's for, and why I came up with it, and a bit of story, and then some suggested practices. Although I'm happy for people to just use it in the way their own intuition guides them. But like I said earlier, I'm giving people a structure and a framework so that they can
Better.
feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get
So
that.
yeah, yeah.
And and do you think that now at this time in like 2026, people are more open minded to things like mantras and meditation and aligning themselves more with source?
I definitely think so. I I think now's the time where we are opening up to on different levels. Not everyone's open to it, but I think there are a lot of people who are, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that obviously chaotic and can be scary, and we've got to have faith in something greater and something inside of us and something that unifies us. And I think whatever people are called to do and create, now's the time to do it. But I also think now's the time that maybe people are open to more, I guess, open for more and something better than the BS we've been fed,
No, it's a fact though. It's a
Yeah.
big fact because of the fact that like right now I think a lot of people are craving substance
Mhm.
versus the quantity of entertainment that's being put out.
Mm.
And also the fact that everybody is trying to quote unquote belong,
Yep.
but yet again they're also faced with the quite opposite of it where everybody wants to express themselves as an individual. You know what I
Yep, I
mean?
think that's something that hopefully we are starting to unlearn, the whole individual thing, because that feeds into a lot of, I don't know, we need each other. We are interconnected.
Mhm.
And we've been hyper individual in recent decades, yeah, we definitely need community, and we need to realize that there is no other and all these labels we put on each other, or these camps of races and religions and left and right and blah, blah, blah. It's all a load of...
Nah,
it's all an illusion, like we're all the same one humanity. We got to help each other. Yeah.
No, it's the truth. It's the absolute truth, and you speak no lies when you're saying that we need each other, because right now, and it's sad to say, is like we see this division that is not even like coming out of people organically. I feel like it's more manufactured than anything else.
And I hope yeah.
No, you were saying?
Oh no, the fact that you're saying that, I think at least a lot of us are at least witnessing it and naming it and going, no. So a lot of people just fall into it, but at least I think there's a growing number of us, including you, because that you've raised it, who are just going, I see that. I see what you're trying to do there. I see that headline.
I see the malarkey that you guys are putting out.
And so, yeah, and I think someone like you who's doing your DJ and putting this stuff out, and compared to what we've seen some of the people in the entertainment industry be doing, like we need authenticity, and I think we're craving that. And that's my word. I don't always say that you have to have a resolution or a word of the year, but authenticity landed with me. I think that's what we need, and that's my word for the year, and that's what I see in you, and I think that's what people are craving. And truth, authenticity, and less BS.
That's a fact, because people want something that they know that even when the going gets tough, it's gonna not stay the same, but stay static, in the sense that you're gonna get the truth, or at least the perspective of the truth from that source.
Yeah, something real.
Something real. So what is like one practice that you think could shift somebody's energy immediately?
The one that I did before is probably my favorite and my go-to because it applies to any situation when you don't even know what to ask for, when you're just a bit lost and you're stuck. And it's one that I find that I'll pull out of the bag and use. So that one of I command a resolution, because it's just like, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just going to trust and align with resolution. So the one that I said about resolution is my favorite in the toolkit.
What would be?
And I just
What would be like your second favorite?
Second favorite. I am enough. That's one to actually just remind yourself that you are enough, obviously. So that's another mantra I have.
I feel you on that, because yet again, modern society doesn't state that you as a person are enough for out there.
No. You're enough if you just lose a bit of weight. You're enough if you just get this cosmetic procedure. You're enough if,
It's always something that you're there like, all right, cool, I'm putting in all this work or whatever the case may be, and then it's like society itself is telling you, you're not doing enough, or you're not enough for this thing, and then you're there like, but I have really good attributes and I'm putting it out there, like, and it's sad because so many people fall into depressions over that.
And we think we need to prove ourselves, but the fact that we exist is enough. And I think I was watching, what is it? Eternal Song. That's a movie that you can just watch online, and it was about the Indigenous people around the world. And I think one of the ladies, I think she was American, Indigenous American. What's the correct terminology? Anyway, but she was saying that it was sad that the people that came and did what they did to her people, they didn't have what they had. They knew they had that knowing that being was enough, that just simply being and existing, and they didn't have to prove themselves. They didn't have to achieve something or other. And that was something she noted that was missing from, I guess, Western ways of thinking. And I think that's something we hopefully are reclaiming.
Really, I really hope so as well, because you do see the difference in like Eastern philosophy versus Western philosophy. That the oneness is not enough for society.
I love that there's I see footage on social media of the Buddhist monks doing the walk across America. You don't know about
What?
that? It's happening in your
No,
country.
no,
The walk for
right,
peace.
I did not know that was going on. Right now, what's happening in America, everybody's still tripping over an American performing at the Super Bowl, even though he
Oh right.
performed in Spanish. That's what this country is tripping out about right now, and I'm like, okay, awesome. It's like
I haven't kept up this year with the Super Bowl. I mean, they're always spectacular, and
yeah. No, it was a great
but
performance. It was a great performance, and a lot of people were against it because he was going to be performing in Spanish and whatnot. But it was a beautiful performance. He represented all of America. North and South America. He shouted everybody out. It was a for a person of Latino background who's a Latino.
mhm.
It was a beautiful thing for me. But I could also see it on the other side how people who are not Latino and don't speak Spanish don't like it because they're not understanding what's going on, and the and also the and also the weight of it all. You know what I mean?
Hmm. How much of it did he sing in Spanish?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah, his whole
Yeah.
performance was in Spanish.
Hmm.
Yeah. But what advice would you give somebody who feels blocked right now, and what mantra would you refer them to in your book?
If someone's blocked right now, to forgive themselves, first of all. You're allowed to be human, and I think we need to acknowledge that we have ups and downs. I'm getting my glasses to see what if they're feeling blocked. I guess it depends on what area they're blocked in. But I have the I am enough, which I think is a good one. The other one, like depending on, I've got one for Holy Spirit, which depends on people's background and beliefs whether that's one that they embrace. I tend to come to it because I'm into A Course in Miracles and have that take of that, so that they could use that one to align with a higher source and guidance. And also, if they want to feel a bit more powerful and shift from feeling powerless to powerful, there's I am the commander. So that just starts with I am the commander of the world I see. I am the commander of my reality. I am the commander. My word is my wand. I command that love rule all, myself, the earth, and beyond. I'm supplied with all I need, for my supply is source. Connected to the infinite, I'm well cared for, of course. I invoke my divine right to live and love in peace. For me and also for the world, division now must cease. Oppression now must come undone as earth reclaims her power. All sentient beings live as one. We make it so this hour. Should darkness come to visit, I acknowledge it is there. I send it on its way with love. It's not my cross to bear. For I am here to choose the light. I choose love and not fear. And as I do, I bring new earth. I command it to be here. The world, it is my mirror. It shows me parts of me. I bring it all into the light for love to set it free. I am the commander. I am led by love. I am led by the grace of God that I am an emanation of. I command that this be so. I command it's done. For the greatest good of all, in love, in one.
No, that
Thank
was
you.
really good. I was really feeling that.
Oh,
I really
good.
like that. Yeah, that was
Thank
really
you.
cool. So, Olivia, before we wrap everything up, let everybody know where we can find your things at. Find your books, your
Uh,
music, socials.
yes. So I'll give you all the links. So would you be able to put that in your show
Yeah,
notes?
yeah, I'm gonna
Otherwise,
put
yep,
them right
it's
down.
Livy. Yeah. The website is livymedia.com.au. There's an AU at the end and then / word spells. And it's got everything there. Otherwise, you can find it on Amazon. But yeah, and then from there you'll find all the links, and you can follow me on socials. My social media it's a fairly recent one that I've set up, which is for this, which is Livy Meditations, Livvi Meditations. So you can
Mhm.
stay in touch on. You can find me on Insight Timer under my name, Olivia De Sousa, or you can follow me on Instagram and stay connected.
Roomies, you heard her here first. Make sure to go follow her, check out her book, check out the meditations. They're amazing, and I guarantee it. And Olivia, before we actually let off, I ask all my guests this question. Do you have any advice or message that you want to leave off to the roomies, or any final thoughts?
You are enough. You are loved, and you are safe. And yep, you have all my love. That's it.
You heard it, roomies. She loves you. Olivia, we love you, and we appreciate you being on. And roomies, remember, when you're feeling down, bring yourself up, take a breath, say something to yourself, because you are enough. And with that, peace out.
Peace out.